When the rains stop falling, it's not just the plants that suffer, it's the soil itself. Without water, the living earth beneath our feet begins to crack, microbes die off, and the ground hardens into a lifeless crust. Farmers have wrestled with this for centuries, and while irrigation and hoses may work for a while, those methods collapse when the water runs low or is rationed. The true secret is preparing the soil to hold moisture like a sponge, keeping life alive underground long after the surface looks dry. In this guide, we're going to uncover the drought survival tricks farmers and homesteaders have used for generations to protect their crops, and how you can apply them right now in your backyard, raised beds, or garden. The mistake most gardeners make during drought is pouring more water onto dry soil, thinking it will solve the problem. In reality, bare soil loses moisture faster than plants can use it. The sun bakes the surface and wind carries off what little moisture remains. When rain finally does come, it runs off hard, dry ground instead of soaking in. Soil microbes, those invisible workers that recycle nutrients, begin to die off without the damp environment they need. Farmers discovered long ago that survival during drought is not about how much water you can add, but how much you can stop from being lost. Moisture protection is a shield, and the methods to build it start with the simplest material every farmer has: organic matter. No drought trick has stood the test of time like mulch. Generations of farmers covered their fields with straw, hay, or leaf litter to shield the soil. By keeping sunlight off the surface, mulch drastically slows evaporation and lowers soil temperature. This is not just about saving water. Cooler soil also reduces stress on plant roots. In backyard gardens or raised beds, this principle is just as effective. The best practice is to start with a base of 4 to 6 inches of straw or shredded leaves. If you only have grass clippings, add them in thin 2-inch layers at a time, allowing each to dry before adding more so they don't mat and suffocate the soil. Over the season, keep topping up the mulch. In tests, mulched beds have been shown to retain moisture up to twice as long as bare ones, meaning less watering and healthier plants even when the sky stays clear. Farmers who faced dry climates learned that water was safest when stored below the surface. They dug trenches, filled them with composting materials, and covered them before planting. This created underground sponges that trapped water during rain and released it slowly during drought. In raised beds or backyards, you can achieve the same with trench composting. Dig a trench 1 foot deep and wide, fill it with alternating layers of fresh kitchen scraps, grass clippings, and dry carbon material like straw or shredded cardboard. Aim for a 2-to-1 ratio of greens to browns, then cover with soil and plant directly above. Roots will grow down into the reservoir, drawing water weeks after surface soil has gone bone dry. This method not only supplies moisture but also steadily enriches soil as the buried material breaks down, creating a cycle of resilience that lasts beyond a single season. Watering from above is wasteful during drought because so much evaporates before reaching the roots. Farmers in arid regions turn to unglazed clay pots called ollas, buried near crops. Filled with water, these pots seep moisture slowly through their porous walls, delivering it directly to roots with almost no loss. A single medium olla can water plants within a 3-foot radius for days at a time. For a quick modern alternative, gardeners can bury a plastic bottle with small holes pierced in the sides, leaving the neck above ground. Filled every few days, this makeshift reservoir works like an olla, giving water steadily to the soil without evaporation. In raised beds, 2 or 3 buried bottles spaced evenly can keep a 4 by 8 foot bed hydrated through even the hottest weeks. This is a direct way to stretch water when every drop counts. During drought, farmers didn't waste water by flooding their fields. Instead, they concentrated nutrition into small amounts of liquid so every drop carried value. Manure teas, wood ash solutions, and compost infusions were common, poured at the base of plants in measured doses. This practice is just as effective for today's gardeners. Mix 1 part finished compost with 5 parts water and let it steep for 24 hours. Apply half a gallon directly at the root zone of each plant once a week. For added microbial activity, dissolve 1 teaspoon of molasses into every gallon. This ensures the soil microbes remain active, and their presence boosts water retention around roots. By feeding plants this way, you reduce the need for frequent watering while keeping them strong enough to withstand stress. Farmers understood that drought is not just about water, it is also about heat. Hot sun scorches soil and accelerates evaporation. To counter this, traditional farmers use shade crops, trellises, and even cloth covers. In a backyard, the same effect can be achieved with a simple shade net stretched above beds, a trellis of climbing beans shielding more delicate crops, or even temporary cardboard panels blocking the afternoon sun. Lowering the soil temperature by just 10 degrees can dramatically reduce moisture loss and help roots survive long dry stretches. In raised beds especially, where soil tends to dry faster due to limited depth, adding shade can mean the difference between losing crops and carrying them through until the rains return. Drought forces hard choices, and farmers often concentrated their limited water on the crops that mattered most, allowing hardier plants to fend for themselves. This principle is practical in home gardens as well. Group thirsty plants like tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers together so water can be applied efficiently in one area. Tougher crops like beans, squash, and root vegetables can survive on less and can be planted separately. If water is extremely limited, it is better to save a smaller number of plants by giving them what they need than to spread resources thin and risk losing everything. When drought hits, many farmers reuse whatever water they can. Gray water from washing, light dishwater, and even cooled cooking water have been poured onto crops during lean times. Modern gardeners can adapt this by collecting shower water in a bucket or diverting rinse water from the kitchen sink. As long as it contains no bleach or harsh chemicals, gray water can be safely applied to soil around plants. Always pour at the base of crops and avoid leaves to reduce any risk of damage. For a backyard gardener, capturing just 10 gallons of gray water a day can keep an entire raised bed alive through drought conditions. When combined, these practices do more than just fight drought for a season. They build soil that can withstand future dry spells. Mulch protects the surface, buried organic matter creates hidden reservoirs, olas and bottles deliver water precisely, liquid feeds keep plants strong with less water, shade lowers stress, grouping saves resources, and gray water stretches supply. Together, they create a system where soil becomes a living sponge, holding on to every drop and releasing it slowly to sustain life. This is not about waiting for rain, it is about preparing your soil to survive without it. Drought does not need to mean disaster for your garden. With the right practices, your soil can hold moisture, protect plants, and carry them through even the harshest dry weeks. Farmers before us discovered these tricks out of necessity, and they remain just as vital today. If you found this guide useful, and want to learn more old-world methods blended with modern soil science, subscribe to Soil and Plant Doctor and share this with other gardeners. The more we spread this knowledge, the more gardens we can help keep alive when the rains don't come.